The game was Friday, Ike, but it still sucks today. Eagles 8-4 after losing on Black Friday to the Bears. Not great.
Not great. Nah, that was piss poor, quite frankly.
Yeah.
I mean, Friday.
Yeah.
What a terrible way to kick off the weekend. I mean, against an opponent that you're supposed to go out there and handle business against. And to see the Eagles come out and almost show up lifeless until they got in desperation mode in the second half, it was really disheartening. I was at the game, can't blame it on the crowd. They were certainly there. They were energetic. They were ready to go. It was a blackout, all those types of things. And just the Eagles didn't match the intensity or energy that the Chicago Bears had. And, you come into that game, and the Bears are playing with house money, right? They've already had a successful season. This is the first year of Ben Johnson being out there as head coach. They're relevant right now. They're in the playoff hunt. And seemingly everything is icing on the cake for that team. Yet and still they came into this game with a chip on their shoulder, feeling as if they're being overlooked and being disrespected by so many others around the league. And this was a signature game for them. And that's how they approached it. They approached it as this is a benchmark for us to conquer, and now everyone will respect us. Right? They came in, they had a minus deficit in plus minus in total points.
Yep.
Right? Through 11 games.
Everybody was calling them a fraud.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they the way they played that game, Spike, I gotta tell you, man. Listen, I don't know what they're gonna do moving forward. I really don't care. I'm just saying Friday, they kicked the Eagles' ass. That's what they did. They did, offensively and defensively. And we'll get into the particulars. And listen, been listening for the last 3 days. I get it. Everybody's ticked off, rightfully so. Enough fingers to go around everyone. But I'm just saying, from my viewpoint, you don't allow a team to come in and just run through you for 60 minutes. That's what the Bears did. They ain't doing anything very complicated.
No.
They lined up and said, we're going to knock you off the football. We're going to win mano. And that's what they did. And offensively, we still look like the same clueless team we've looked like for much of the season.
Most of the year.
Yeah.
Most of the year.
We look like the same team. I was almost I had a little shred of hope in our defense somehow. I don't know, maybe leading the charge for us the rest of the season. The last 2 weeks, our defense has been toothless. And we basically been run through from the Cowboys and the Bears. I don't know where to go with this team right now. I'm beaten. I am. I'm beaten. It takes a lot of emotion and energy. Defending this team, trying to find positives, trying to remain hopeful. And they just worn me down over the last week with those 2 games. They really have. They have worn me down emotionally with those last 2 games, with their effort and their lack of, I don't know, do they really care? It becomes exhausting when we care more than they do.
Yes.
And that's the feeling that I'm getting.
215-592-9494.
It's going to be a long week.
It is a Let It Out Monday. There's been, Ike mentioned, have heard a lot of emotion on WIP for the last few days. I've seen a lot of emotion on the internet. So, whatever it is that is on your mind today, whether it's Patullo or Jalen or the defense or Sirianni, whatever it is, we will talk about it.
Just throw a dart. You'll land on somebody, yeah.
But the thing that you said there, Ike, that is most concerning to me is, if the Philadelphia Eagles this year are your typical Super Bowl hangover team, to me, it's not optimal, but I understand it and it's acceptable. I can look at Saquon Barkley and say to myself, look, the guy touched the ball 500 times last year. He's probably not going to have it this year. I'd be stupid to not think that that's possible. I get it. The offensive line, Saquon had runs last year where he never got touched. The offensive line never had a run play where they didn't get touched, right? So if they are physically beaten, they've battled injuries the whole year, I can understand it. I can even understand Howie Roseman, them needing to save money in the offseason, having an iffy offseason, maybe should have kept this guy, maybe should have kept that guy, and maybe they just don't have it to do it all over again this year. Super Bowl hangover, I can get with it. What I can't get with is what it looked like is starting to happen on Friday, and that's a collapse. And we've been smelling this for 3 or 4 weeks now, and they beat the Packers and they beat the Lions, but still, you could talk yourself into the fact that they just won, but something didn't feel quite right? And this even goes back further than that. And the issue with a collapse is that if they collapse, if they end up winning 9 games this season, right? Even if they end up winning 10 and they get obliterated in the playoffs or something, and we see more games like we saw on Friday, not just getting beat, but getting run over by a team that you are as talented, if not more talented than, then it calls into question everything that I thought I knew for sure about the Eagles. It calls into question, I knew for sure Nick Sirianni, great culture coach, right? Going to keep I was confident in the leadership of the football team. All of those things, the makeup of them, not how they're playing specifically, but the future. If they collapse again for the second time in 3 years, you have to ask more difficult questions than you have to ask if they just are not quite as good this year as we want them to be.
Yeah.
And the effort against the Bears and the collapse against the Cowboys, again, from a football perspective, I think all year they've been playing with fire. I don't think they've been that good all year. Even the games that they won, that I can understand. But getting your brains beat in at home in front of a national TV audience by a team that, like, to a certain extent, going into that game, I'm like, all right, this is a fraud off. Both teams sort of feel like frauds.
They didn't even do anything offensively.
Nothing.
They already did was just hand the ball off.
Nothing. It's not. Caleb Williams was fine, but it wasn't great. And it wasn't. Everybody kept saying, "Well, look at Ben Johnson's play designs." I don't know. It looked like they were just running it right through the middle of our defense.
Yes.
So the scary thing for me is at this point is like, are the 2025 Eagles going to collapse? And there was at one point this year where you could say to yourself, 23 is 23. It's 2 years ago. But there are so many things that smell the same this year compared to that year. And if they collapse again, I've given up on the hope of them winning the Super Bowl. I think that's gone. I thought that was gone for a couple of weeks. But I did not think that they would collapse, that they would let go of the rope, that they would stop, doing everything that they could to win football games, and that's what that looked like on Friday.
You know why? And you know what that's a culmination of? Complaining. See, they let go of the rope when they started pointing fingers.
Yep.
See, you can't hold on to the rope, pull in the same direction, and still blame each other, blame others, right? Instead of looking at yourself. So to the point that you're making, using that analogy, that was the signs that they were letting go of the rope. Because they started pointing fingers at each other, leaks, pointing fingers, all this other stuff. And man, I'm telling you, Friday was disappointing. Friday was the one that really rocked me. That Friday set me down. I've been quiet all weekend.
Yes, you have.
Yeah, I've been quiet all weekend. It set me down. Because I didn't expect that Friday. To not show up. And again, Chicago didn't do anything that was so extravagant that you couldn't keep up with them. Chicago basically said, man, we can just keep doing this. They're not doing anything.
Right.
We can just do this. We don't need to do anything extra.
And I was on our Chicago radio station before the game, and they asked me what I thought was going to happen. And I said, you know what? It's windy. It's probably going to be ugly. The Eagles are probably going to win by 3 points, and we'll complain about it, but they're probably going to win because that's what they normally do.
Right.
And I expected an ugly game where nobody looks particularly good. I didn't expect for the Bears to completely outclass the Philadelphia Eagles. From an effort standpoint, from an execution standpoint, it looked like, and I agree with you, when the complaining started and it didn't stop, it just led to more complaining and more blaming. That's a bad sign. It's a bad sign, and they need whatever they can do to prevent this from going the wrong direction. Because they're going to have to ask difficult questions after this year if this season goes the way that it looks like it could. 215-592-9494. It is a Let It Out Monday. Whatever you're upset about, we are more than willing to talk about. And you probably have every right to be upset about it.